Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, a couple things regarding Iraq that we can get into here. We're definitely wanting to see what Saudi Arabia and China has got up their sleeve. I think people are eagerly anticipating what could come out of this. This could have a serious impact on the US dollar, but we'll see. Let's get into this, shall we? Real quick, I was noticing that there's a whole new batch of Iraqi Dinar gurus. You know, you got Currency Corner, although they seem to like Nader a lot. He's on there. You have the Iraqi Dinar. You got Chell on here. Mel, of course. Silver and Cigars. I don't think he's doing Dinar, but he just did a video on Dinar. But you can just go through here and look at all the different new YouTube channels that are coming up regarding the Iraqi Dinar. Anyways, I thought it was interesting and it was crazy. So, Xi Jinping is challenging dollar dominance with landmark Saudi deal. Now, I kind of had a feeling that Saudi Arabia might be stalling. And my thought process was they're wanting to see what happens in the U.S. election because Donald Trump coming back could make a huge difference since he actually has a pretty good rapport with both countries. But definitely want to hear, I'm sure Saudi Arabia would like to see if Trump gets back into power. I think Saudi Arabia had a better relationship with Trump than the Biden administration. That's just my personal opinion on this. Said when Xi Jinping visited, Saudi officials rolled out not a red but a purple carpet. The Chinese president plane was escorted by Saudi jets, spurting green and white smoke to symbolize the colors on the Gulf nation's flag. Celebratory cannons were fired. A royal guard on Arabian horses escorted Xi Jinping to the royal palace. The warm reception during the visit last December was symbolic of deepening ties between China and Saudi Arabia. Long one of the U.S. closest allies in the Middle East, Beijing is trying to woo the kingdom towards the east, and Saudi leader, the Prince bin Salman, appears open to this. So the Chinese president has ambitions to challenge the global dominance of the dollar. One way to do that would be to start trading oil and gas in the renminbi. See, this is what I'm talking about. Nobody trusts China nor Russia. That might be the only saving grace that we have, but we're quickly damaging our reputation and we're getting to the same level as them as far as trust is concerned. I think if I'm any of the oil nations, I'd just start doing trades in my currency. Saudi Arabia, the world's largest crude exporter, has traded oil entirely in dollars since 1974, but it talks about pricing sales to China, Saudi's largest trading partner in renminbi, have been escalating. In November, China made a breakthrough. The other issue that Saudi Arabia has with the United States is we're pushing at the green technology, EV vehicles, which a lot of these politicians have money invested in their stocks from over there in China. That's where they're pushing it. And then not to mention the fact that they're pushing this agenda for the World Economic Forum. So why would Saudi be friendly with the United States when they're just trying to kill the oil industry altogether? So China and Saudi Arabia signed an agreement to set up a currency swap line worth 50 billion yuan. The landmark deal means Saudi Arabia has free access to a supply of Chinese currency at a set exchange rate, and vice versa for Beijing and Saudi Riyals. Swap lines in themselves are uncontroversial. China has one with the UK, and the deal with Saudi Arabia is small in scale, worth only a fraction of Saudi Arabia's total trade with China. But the deal is a significant turning point. If China's oil and gas trade operates in renminbi, it would be outside the Western financial system and effectively unsanctionable. In other words, you can't just put sanctions on them and kick them out of the Swiss systems. The United States won't have the ability to do that. Establishing the framework of the swap deal also allows it to be scaled up relatively easy. While 50 billion yuan is small, the total size may well grow. It's mostly a signal that Saudi is willing to use renminbi. Saudi Arabia is under pressure to accept the renminbi because Russia, China's largest oil trading partner, already does. The idea of China seriously challenging the dollar dominance has been dismissed by many economists as far-fetched. The dollar is still in a different league globally because of such a large share of public and private debt worldwide is held in dollars. The U.S. currency is used in nearly half of all payments worldwide, while the renminbi is used in less than 4%, according to SWIFT data. The dollar is freely convertible, the renminbi is not, and China has restrictions on capital flows. So yeah, there's a lot of strikes against China just being the sole currency for trading. But the number of transactions involving the renminbi is rising at breakneck speed. In the last 3 years, global use of the Chinese currency in trade finance has tripled. In September, it overtook the euro as the second most used currency in global trade. Data from the People's Bank of China shows that globally, central banks use the Chinese swap lines has roughly quadrupled since 2020. That's a huge jump. So I told you that America has definitely become a bully in the world, especially with all the sanctions and trying to force countries to bend to their will and to push this agenda on the world from the World Economic Forum, and a lot of countries are rebelling against it. You know, Beijing watched Washington impose sanctions on Russia dollar reserves that simply made the dollar not useful for Russia. Xi Jinping is more vulnerable to financial sanctions than Vladimir Putin because China's economy is much more dependent on imports and exports. Boosting renminbi trade with allies helps to insulate China from any U.S. intervention. So we know there's been a lot of talk about whether or not they're going to start doing oil trades in other currencies other than the U.S. dollar. I think the whole world's really paying attention to what's going on. But can China by itself take over the U.S. dollar? No, I don't think so. Can Russia by themselves? Nope, I don't think so. But if they combined and do a BRICS currency that's supported by gold or other assets, it's very possible they can make a serious challenge to the U.S. for world dominance in the form of a currency. All I know is over the last several years, this kind of thing has been talked about several times. And nobody really paid it any credence because this kept saying that nobody can pass the U.S. or overtake the U.S. in world reserve dollars. But recently, there definitely has been challenges to the U.S. dollar for that top position. I just don't know if any one country has the power to do it by themselves, but multiple countries together can, in my opinion. China suspends a $6.5 billion currency swap agreement with Argentina, and that's because of the new leader. So China has suspended a $6.5 billion currency swap agreement with Argentina, and the freeze remains in effect until the president, Javier, demonstrates a clear intentions to engage with Beijing, Argentina media have reported. News of the move comes just 10 days into the tenure of the new president, who campaigned on breaking ties with China, and underscores the challenge that the new president will face trying to follow through with those pledges. Well, look, he made all kinds of promises. Let's see what happens. In Beijing, the Chinese foreign minister spokesperson also refused to confirm or deny the reports on Wednesday, only saying that China remained committed to cooperation with Argentina on the basis of equality and mutual benefit. Now, if you remember, this new leader came in and said they're just going to do away with the Argentina dollar, just going to get rid of it and start using U.S. dollars, which means this country will become dependent on U.S. dollars, just like we see Iraq and other countries. I don't know if Argentina wants to surrender that much of their sovereignty by just using U.S. dollars. I think that's a bad move for any country to solely depend on just a single currency. I would use your currency and then use U.S. dollars to support it if that's the case, along with a lot of other assets and natural resources that your country might have to strengthen your currency. Anyways, will this happen? There certainly seems to be a push to make this happen. China becoming the new reserve currency? Nah, I don't think so. But if China teamed up with other countries, especially the BRICS nations, and he creates some kind of gold-backed BRICS currency to do trade in, that might give the U.S. dollar a good challenge because right now, nothing but the good faith and promise of your U.S. government supports your fiat dollar. And in case you're not paying attention to the media, people don't trust our government anymore. Anyways, that's it for now. I'm curious to what you have to say. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm out.